Hello and welcome to Kin in Line. I make this part 147. I think this drawing book, or it's actually a scrapbook that I've converted into a drawing book. So the pages are a dark brown, pale brown really, but they do lend themselves to this sort of sketch, which I estimate was done in the early 2000s, and we're at Bonza Bay, and my favorite subject on the beach are fishermen. Here just sort of loosely drawn, as is the rest of the landscape, and there you can see Bonza Bay's famous sand dunes. They are tall and they're capped with indigenous forest. So the back of those is half a mile of forest with milkwood and various other indigenous trees, and even small antelope. That's actually a nature reserve now. So there's also the little waves pushing through into the bay, and obviously a rocky foreground. This would have been at lowish tide, I guess. Sorry, always a struggle to turn a page with one hand. So also drawn at the same time, no doubt, was this. You've got those same sand dunes in the background, rocks in the foreground, and then just people strolling. This was a stretch of beach I grew up walking along and searching for Ming Dynasty china that used to wash ashore from a wreck off Bonza Bay back several centuries ago. So this old chap with his pipe, I recalled sitting on the promenade at the Bonza Bay beach and doing this, of a chap on an adjacent bench, and in fact doing these as well. So this would have been the view from the promenade, the benches along the famous Bonza Bay promenade. Those are the sand dunes en route to Ganubi on the eastern side of the river mouth. And as usual, people peppered about. And here are a couple of close-ups of some, not altogether in prime condition, but obviously they make for nice subjects to sketch. So this will give an age indication. These are my son and one of my sons, Doug. He would have been about 10 here, and his cousin Stuart, who would have been also about 10 or 9 or so. And guess what? They're playing computer games. Can't quite work out where the screen is, but that looks like it on the left there, and that looks like a hand on a mouse. But yeah, it's amazing how much time these guys used to spend playing these terrible games, shooting each other. But they were still young enough to go with us to the Queen's Park Zoo in East London. I've recently discovered that there is a Queen's Park in London, so I'm sure the zoo was named after that. Here's a little Dussie. No, that's not a Dussie, sorry, Daker. A very small antelope with tiny little pointed horns. And 2 species of bird, I think a crowned crane and, not sure about that. And here's a wee lion cub, I think. Not a great fan of zoos, but they do give you the opportunity to see these sorts of animals up close. So a giraffe. I remember this guy stuck his head right over the fence, and there was a little baby in a pram, and it came within like feet of this baby. And to think I got this from someone, and now it's, yeah. So here in the Queen's Park Zoo, I don't know if it's still like this, but there are big enclosures for antelope, and there's kudu, 2 kudu, all these done rapidly. I think this might be a blue crane, which is our national bird, if it is one. And some sort of pig, and lions. So that's quite sad to see these giant beasts in an enclosure, and this guy seems to be looking a bit despondent. I might have missed a page here. Oh yes. So there's also a tiger, or there was back then. And it was summer, midsummer, and it was very hot, and they had this little pool of water, probably it's drinking water, and this poor thing was lying in the water just to stay cool. Like the way its faces emerged. And here the primates are. Sure. When you watch these things, I'm not sure which species these are. Orangutan or something. But they're so human. I mean, you could drop peanuts into their enclosure and these oaks would catch them, you know. And then these two are some sort of nocturnal little animal, I think. Oh, here we are. Whoops. Oh, yes. Yeah, these are meerkats, I think. Meerkat. I don't know why they're called meerkat. Meer means more in English. So they're more cat than anything else. And here's quite an effective little sketch of a tortoise. Yeah, now this is quite interesting. So this is my younger son, Doug, on the left. His cousin, Stuart, obviously the one playing the game, computer game, and then older brother, Luke, Doug's older brother, looking on. I wonder if they realize how much time they wasted on this pursuit. Although, having said that, Doug firmly believes that his career in computer science, programming and all that derives from his playing computer games. Then there was even a bear enclosure, and I forget the name of this bear. So there's quite a, I mean, where would you see a bear today? And the giraffe. And I made a few notes. We went to Gately House, which is a historic house around which the zoo was built. And here it says it was built in 1866. So that's not long after East London was founded in 1840s, I think. And John Gately, 1878 to only 1902. Well, that's when he lived there. And became a national monument in 73. Yeah, we had a really good visit there, and I don't know if it still exists. It's just been allowed to run to rack and ruin, Excuse me. So there are a lot of exotic birds in this place, or there were sorts of, I think they're called birds of paradise. There's a whole aviary of these beautifully colored birds. This looks like a tiny little parrot of sorts. And more of our close cousins in the primates. So I'm no expert on these different species. Very hard to turn these pages in one hand. And here we got the hyena, which is a real symbol for rapacious behavior, of which we see so much in Africa. These are, to me, distinctly ugly animals. And then some geese and duck, and a parrot, maybe a lovebird there. There's a nice duck pond in the zoo, which is frequented by scores of ducks. And then the lion enclosure. And I think this could go down quite well in The Lion King, or something that looks like the female sort of matriarch, and then the great old male lion. I think I got his face quite nicely. Again, some duck species of waterbird. Okay, now so finally we're getting into the karoo. This is now on another occasion. So here we have, I mentioned way back that there's a mountain called Los Krans, loose, what's a krans in English? I don't know. We'll only go with krans. That's what we call it. So quite a quick sketch, probably while hiking, and I carried these oil pastels with me and did this quick one. And this on the same farm up in the northern Karoo near Stainsburg, we have this lovely koppie. So it's quite nice to see the color. I think I've got it quite subtly there. And this is looking to the west. I think this is the dam in the foreground. There's a big dam on this farm. When there's rain, obviously it's not always big. And then I just, used a bit of license to color those mountains. I think I'll make this the last one for now. So there's a little koppie, as we call it, right next to the farmhouse. And then in the distance, you can see these silos, grain silos. And then just the Peru landscape stretching out, a little house there. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. Cheers.